Bree, Jim, would you like me to bring on your first caller?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have call-in studio up? I forgot
Yes.
to ask that. Okay, cool. So first time taking a Bigfoot caller. I'm pretty excited. Ronnie, you are on with Jim and BrainBug. How are you?
I'm all right. Hello?
Hey there, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie. How's it going?
Yeah. Oh, pretty good. How about y'all?
Doing good. So what's this about Bigfoot? Did you see him or?
Well, I'm kind of curious why, you would ask, but, you asked me about my experience or whatever, and I'm willing to share my beliefs or whatever, and,
Okay.
Keep in mind, I'm straight up atheist, and, I'm not given to, like, whims of belief and things like that. Like, I'm telling you what, like, physical reality that I experienced. So you asked me for this, and I don't mind.
Yeah, let's crack it open.
So,
let's hear about Bigfoot. Did you actually have an encounter?
Well, actually, it's not just been one; it's been multiple times over the course of about 30 years or so. It's been multiple times, and
Okay, give us out of these experiences, what was what do you think would be the most compelling information for us to have? What would be most interesting and provocative of a tale to tell on that?
Well, let me give you a little bit of my background first, okay? I'm a geologist, so I'm very familiar with the outdoors. I spent a lot of time outdoors, okay? I spent a lot of time outdoors. I know the sounds of every animal. I can identify every bird species in, at least Tennessee by the call. And, I'm very familiar with the outdoors. I've spent most of my time outdoors my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I farm, and I'm a geologist. That's my background, okay?
Okay.
So, sometimes at night I hear it, right? But throughout the course of my life, like there's been several times where I've had a visual contact, and it's never been violent, though. It's never been anything violent, and it's just never been violent, and it's basically just walked away from me.
Okay. And when you say visual, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, I've seen it like within 20 feet or whatever.
Standing in the open or in the forest or?
Well, yeah, in the forest, like when I was hunting, when I was like, just kind of taking a lunch break in the field,
Can you describe it to us? Can you describe the encounter?
If I had to describe it, it would be sort of like, human, like, which is a hominoid, I believe that. And, there's no reason why. There's a primate species on every continent, right? So why would there not be one in North America? But as far as a missing link or whatever in the terms of evolution, I mean, in terms of evolution.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
There's actually is good reason to not expect to find a hominid in North America or in South America for that matter. But I'm not.
It kind of looked Native American. It kind of looked like Native American in the face, but the animal and like the body. You know what I mean?
No. What do you mean, animal in the body?
Like the body was an animal, but the face was like a Native American, like a man. That's why everybody says that they look at the face and they can't shoot it because it looks like a man, but the body was like an animal. It's kind of weird. I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest with you. And this is my first time doing this, okay? I've never did
right.
a podcast.
You're okay. You're doing fine.
No, that's fine. You're doing fine. So when you say like an animal, do you mean like it had fur on it? It had scales? What made you think that this was an animal?
No, it was hair, but hair is what defines manimal, like it was a manimal. I mean, and that's where the line gets kind of fuzzy because you can't define between manimal and human, like.
Are you saying
that's where
manimal?
you get- Well, yeah, mammal, like.
Oh,
that's
mammal.
That's where you come
Mammal,
up with
yeah.
the thing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's
we
where,
are mammals.
hominid.
All anything. If you think you thought it looked like a hominid, yeah, it would definitely be a mammal. So it was furry, hairy. I mean,
Hairy.
how big are we talking?
Well, hairy. What's that?
How big are we talking?
Yeah, like like 9-10 feet.
9 or 10 feet. Oh, that's a big animal.
Like you don't mistake something like that you see in the woods.
So
Okay? Like you don't do that.
was it standing still looking at you? Was it walking? Did you cross a trail?
You know what? Every single time it was like it had been watching me and I didn't know it, and it just literally just walked away from me like I was nothing.
But you saw it. You saw its human
like
face.
Yeah, but I seen it. You know what? It's just like that Patterson video,
Okay.
except for the fact that you didn't know it was there. You weren't prepared. You didn't have a camera. It just like walked away, like I was nothing. Like it had been sitting studying me, and it just walked away.
What kind of
That's just
what kind
my
of forest is
experience,
it? It's Tennessee, so are we up in the
Yeah.
highlands, the pines, or are we down in the,
Oh,
in the old?
West Tennessee, North Mississippi area. West Tennessee, North Mississippi. And my experience is not as dramatic as everybody else, says, but I'm just telling you what happened. I mean,
Right. So, I mean, it seems a little. I mean, we have nothing in the fossil record for a Bigfoot, and we only have these. Pardon?
Let me tell you something, okay? I'm a geologist. I know about the fossil record, and it takes water to preserve fossils. Like, and most of the fossils we have are marine related, okay?
Right.
It takes a certain environment to preserve fossils, and not everything is going to be preserved, okay? So when you're talking about a mammal species, like, you're in a whole different, that's rare. Fossilization at all is rare, okay?
Right. But we have the fossil record for almost every other hominid species. It seems odd that we don't have one for this particular species at all. And given the range of places that they've been seen, unless those are relatively new ranges, when I say range, I mean area that they live in, you would still expect something in the fossil record to indicate that a hominid can get to 9 or 10 feet. And we don't have, we just don't have anything, as far as I know, anything in the fossil record that indicates that a hominid can get to 9 or 10 feet tall.
The problem with hominids.
Let me ask you this. What's that?
So the problem with it being a hominid is okay, so most of the animals that migrated to North America from Asia are steppe animals. They lived on the tundra and then up in the frozen plains a bit. Not a good prime ape habitat. Now, apes like Gigantopithecus, for instance, did get huge. It was a massive animal. But it was also indigenous to bamboo forest, and it would have needed that to stay near bamboo forest in order to be able to keep itself and enough food to survive. And the crossing the Bering land bridge when it was frozen over, it's thousands and thousands of miles of trekking. Now, the only hominid that I'm aware of that is built to make that kind of long distance travel as humans, and we are built to travel. All the other apes are kind of arboreal; they stick to the forest. But humans, as we have evolved, we evolved to travel
Okay.
great distances
Let me
across
ask you
the
a
plain.
question.
So that's why we were able to
Okay, so
make
let me
that
ask you a
journey.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, right? You know about Gigantopithecus, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Gigantopithecus blackie. Mhm.
Okay, you know about the Rarian land strait?
That's,
Okay, so it was exposed, so that means the environment changed, right? The environment changed, so
Well, that's what I was just
You know,
saying, that land
environment-
bridge was a tundra. It was an Arctic tundra when it was there. And the animals that crossed over that
Would
land
be
bridge
exposed
were
to-
cursorial tundra animals like wolves and elk and humans, our dogs. We brought our dogs with us. But yeah, there aren't any other
You know-
hominids that were out there. Go ahead.
you're getting a lot of like evolution in history right now, like the short-faced bear,
Mhm.
but if the land bridge was exposed, that means the environment changed, right? So, you had a warm environment, and it was not going to be anything different than, what was in Asia. And, animals, especially mammals, they move.
Yeah,
move.
they migrate,
I mean,
sure. I mean,
Right.
we have tiger fossils in Alaska because tigers used to be able to go across that land bridge too. When they got across, they were trapped there for. I'm sorry, Jim. I keep cutting you off.
No, I was also going to point out that you're right. They do move, and we don't have. It's very hard to find credible tracks of one of these animals or people or hominids. And there's no fur or hair left behind. I mean, they seem really, really difficult to track, just for the ones that are alive. So it seems, we've got tracks for animals that are fairly rare, but it just seems really interesting that we only have eyewitness sightings. The pictures that we have, as far as I know, have been mostly debunked. And with the prevalence of cameras all over the place, highway cameras, I mean, they catch all kinds of weird stuff. Hunter cameras that they use for that.
Trail cams, yeah.
Yeah,
This is
trail
what you
cams.
don't understand, okay? This is what you don't understand. They have, like, all those things that you just mentioned, highway cameras, hunters cameras, they have caught it. Like, they have. I mean, everything is out there.
Where
But as far as my personal experience, what's up?
where did they catch it on camera? Like something that's actually, because I do a show every Saturday where I talk about different things and caught on
It's all over
camera
the
and
internet.
stuff.
I mean, it's all over the internet. They've caught it on traffic cameras. They caught it on trail cameras. Like, as far as my personal experience or whatever, which is what I was going to tell you about.
Mhm.
Like, it's not been 1-2 occasional instances. It's been multiple times, and I've never really talked about it before. So this is my first time.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
over
you and like I said, you're doing just fine. I am interested in asking questions about your personal experience, but I am kind of interested in which videos and photos you're talking about as well. I mean, if we're going to claim those evidence, I'd like to.
As far as on traffic cameras, there's a traffic camera where they caught a whole family on the side of the road in Canada. I mean, that's on the internet.
Well, I'm looking at the claim that the family was captured on Arizona highway.
Yeah, that's the one. That's maybe one of them, but I mean, that's probably one. So,
Okay.
But,
So you
that's
find
just
that
me.
you find
I
those
mean,
videos compelling.
You're saying that there's no evidence, but what you're really telling me is you have not scratched what's actually out there as far as the evidence.
Well, I'm looking at this ADOT photo right now. It's Arizona Department of Transportation photo, and I have no idea what I'm looking at. I mean, you could definitely make the case that these are hominids of some kind, but you could also make the case that they're rocks. Or
Rocks don't move.
Well, it's a still video. It's a still shot I'm looking at. But again, I can make the case that these are almost anything, to include people in fursuits.
Okay. So as far as my personal experience, what did you want to ask me about that?
So it was in Tennessee? All your experiences were in Tennessee?
Well, I want you to keep in mind something, okay? I'm a geologist, and I have traveled quite a bit, like more than an average person. I've done it for a living.
Right.
Spent time in isolation in many places, and you know, I spent more time outdoors than the average hunter. Okay.
Right. And here, I mean, has anybody else been there and seen it with you, or has this just been you?
Absolutely. Actually, like, you know, one night we were coon hunting in a bottom close to where I live, and you know, at least 5 people saw the same thing. Like, it literally walked up on us, but like every time, just like I tell you, right? And I won't change my story because I'm not lying, but it walked up on us and literally walked away like we were nobody, you know? Like it had literally been studying us and just didn't care.
Did it leave any physical evidence?
We were not a threat. What's that?
Did it leave any physical evidence for you to be able to examine? Footprints, hair samples, anything like that?
Well, of course, footprints, but I mean, we never paid attention to that. You know, we were just like so shocked about it. We didn't.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
As far as hair, we didn't go back to look at it. What's that?
I definitely get being shocked by an encounter like that. How do we? So it was a group of, you said about 5 people with you, and you saw the
Well,
animal.
basically it was me and my brother and my dad, my grandpa, one of his you know, our uncle and his 2 kids. Like, we were all out coon hunting, okay? And the thing walked up through the briars and like a creek, or I don't know if you call it a creek or a ditch. It didn't really have water running at the time, but it just walked up through it like it was nothing, you know, all through the briars and everything, and just walked up on us and walked past us, just like we were nothing. And that was just one time now. It's been several times. This is like, you know, I wouldn't call and tell you this stuff for nothing. I mean,
and we're just trying to figure out what it was that you saw. And I mean, I'm looking through the internet as you're talking here, and every photo I'm finding. First, I really have to commend all of the Department of Transportations that have photos up for having the worst cameras I have ever had the displeasure of looking at. Wow, are they bad? I don't see how you could use them for anything. But I mean, I see stuff, and I can go, okay, yeah, you can make the claim. It's just really, really odd that these are the best that we have. And
and this guy's 10 foot tall, moving through the creek bottoms. Just
right.
I really can't say 10 foot exactly, but I know that it was very intimidating. You know, It was like bigger than normal.
Right.
Like, I can't tell you in exact.
And you didn't have your phone with you?
Well, some of these towns were before they were in some of these towns I'm telling you about are before their cell phones even existed. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, when something catches you off guard like that, I mean, you're not going to reach for your phone. Okay, that's not your first thought, right? And you know, like I said, some of the things I'm telling you about, cell phones never even existed then. Okay.
So let's.
You know, I was talking about going hunting, coon hunting one night when I was, you know, like maybe you're talking about 1983, 4.
Okay, so let's look at some of the wildlife of the area and see if there's anything that fits the description for you. So obviously the large animals that live in that area. We're talking about bears. You got black bears that in western Tennessee. Not as much as they have in
No,
northern.
there was actually an experiment where the TWRA tried to introduce black bears back in the 80s, right? So we all knew where they were. Like everybody in the South is not stupid. We knew where they introduced the bears at. You know, they introduced black bears for a very short period of time, okay? So basically what you got is bobcat, this is the top predator, right? And, you know, the occasional panther, which nobody believes is here, but TWRA finally mentioned, okay? So basically, you know, the top predator is a bobcat. So I know the sound of every single one of these, and every once in a while at night, I hear a sound that's nothing like that. It's like a human head on the neck, and you know, there's no mistaking what it is. But I know the sound. I can identify any bird that you can name by the call. Anybody, any of them, passerine, anything. Okay. I have a background in biology and geology, like I told you. I spend a lot of time outdoors. I'm a farmer. Like I literally live outdoors, like that's my whole life. So there's no mistaking when I hear something that's out of the ordinary. Okay.
So would you say that most of your encounters are auditory?
No, I mean, I've had multiple that were visual. I mean, no, it's not. And I hate to give too much of my background away, but I have very good professional experience. Like, you know, I'm legit.
Oh yeah, we're not out to dox you or anything, but yeah, if you have professional training in a field, you know, to be studying. I
have a lot.
Yeah,
I have a lot. Like, you know, I'm, you know, University of Memphis graduate, University of Tennessee, went to both of them. Like, I'm legit. And, you know, I have no reason to lie to you, and I have no reason to hide anything. You know, I do believe that it's a species that is, you know, this is where the thing comes in, right? Is it endangered or is it elusive, right?
Well, right. And even the most elusive animals eventually get, you know, definitively caught on camera, and then we find DNA. I mean, some of the most elusive creatures, you know, there aren't that many elusive animals even in the ocean. I mean, we do find a few, and that's much harder to find. And we still find those, and we find evidence for them.
Someone asked in the chat here what Bigfoot sounds like. Could you do a Bigfoot impression for us, or is that in your wheelhouse?
I can't really impersonate it, but I can tell you this: it's a call that is unmistakable. And the thing about it is, right, is you'll only hear it one time. It won't repeat. You'll only do it once. And it won't repeat unless it's like 2 or 3 hours later. It only does it once. It won't repeat it. It doesn't repeat like a regular animal will. You know, there's intelligence behind that, right? So it won't do it like repeatedly. It just does it once, like an isolated call, and then it won't do it again. But when you hear it, it's like there's no mistaking it.
Could someone train their voice? Could someone train their voice to do it though? Like with practice?
No, it's too loud. It's too loud and it's too far off. It's no mistaking it. There's no mistaking it. Absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, lots of things come to mind, but you know the area, so I mean, I would assume that you've eliminated went through caves and all that kind of stuff, because one of the other things that's odd is, pardon? Go ahead.
I'm in a delta. There's nothing like that here. I'm in a delta.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I assume that you'd eliminated that. So, and because it's also odd that when you start looking into this stuff, there's no consistent description of the sound. unless it's a vague one like yours. You'll know it when you hear it type of description. Other than that, there's no good description or consistent description of the sound.
Yeah, that's how do I? Let me try to describe it the best way that I can. Right, it's like a mix between a human and an animal, and it's so loud that you know that it's far away, but you know that it's not normal. It's not a normal animal that you're used to.
Have you ever heard a cougar scream?
Absolutely. TWRA just now admitted that cougars existed in Tennessee because somebody shot one with a bow and arrow, in Middle Tennessee. And they just now admit that they were here, but I've seen them my whole life, even since I was a kid. Like, they've always been around. Like, there's nothing in it. Okay.
Well, there was before
another subject.
Before Western expansion, there was a subspecies of cougar called the Eastern cougar that was actually indigenous to Tennessee. I believe that they think the ones that are coming over now are invasive from the West.
Well, I've got my own theories on that. I believe that the panther that is seen in the east past the Mississippi River is the Florida panther. Okay, as far as the mountain lions and everything like that goes on, like in Arkansas or whatever like that, it takes a lot to cross the Mississippi River. And, I believe the panther that's seen in the eastern United States is the Florida panther migrating upwards. So that's my thoughts on that.
Florida panthers are a bit smaller, though, than the eastern cougar was. But there used to be a subspecies called the eastern cougar. They declared them extinct. I think it was in 2011. But there may still be some pockets out there of them. I don't know. I think that would be more likely than a Florida panther, because the Florida panthers, it's sort of adapted to living in that specific environment. That's just my
two ideas on that. My two ideas on that is that it never went extinct and it rebounded, or the Florida panther that's native moved up. And as far as the mountain lion or whatever they say that's out here, I don't believe it's a mountain lion at all. Which has been caught on camera, like you say, right? You wanted evidence caught on wildlife camera. It has been.
Right.
I mean, all the evidence is out there. It's just, people want to pick and choose, like, what they want to accept. But, it's just, basically, you gotta decide between personal experience or, belief. And belief is something that you've never experienced. But when you see something, you experience it, it's not a belief anymore.
It sounds like you've had lots of experiences that we could really dig into. It's been really nice listening to your information that you have for us, and I do encourage you to give us a call back in the future with more of this. If you could give us accounts, that's what I'm really looking for. Is like, okay, it was this time of night, we were in this location.
I can tell you, I can tell you several things that's happened to me.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely. Do consider giving us a call back, because this has been really enjoyable for me. I really love this topic. So anytime that I'm hosting, I welcome you to call in, because I really enjoy talking about this. We do have other callers waiting though, so we gotta kind of move forward. But did you want to have any last word before we?
Where can I listen to this at?
We're on YouTube at the YFNA. But if you message Ethan, he'll send you some links. Okay. And I would like to communicate with you about some of these pictures and stuff that you're talking about that you find compelling, because I'd like to look them over and have a discussion about them maybe. But anyway, until next time, it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ronnie, you take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, Jim. What'd you think of that?
It's interesting that, like I said, the highway cameras, you'd think in 2022 would be better. At least in the 2000 would be better, but they're really, really low res, and that doesn't do you any good. The couple of high res stuff taken on a modern phone or more modern phone looks interesting, but there's just not enough detail on them, even on the high res, to really see exactly what it is that you're looking at. It could still be someone in a gorilla suit. It could be somebody in a fursuit of some kind still. I don't know.
Hind legs.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of interesting. There are still a lot of sightings. I was looking at sightings over time, thinking that with more modern cameras we'd get fewer sightings, but the number of sightings has actually gone up. But not the number of pictures, which again is interesting. It's that's why it makes the whole thing so frustrating, is that when you start looking for evidence outside of personal experience, what you end up with is a bunch of nothing. We've got one mandible from that was in China, but no idea really it's hominid, but other than that we don't know anything about it.
Well, that's what I was going to get into there too, was that the ecology of the Gigantopithecus wouldn't have allowed it to traverse the Bering Land Bridge. It just wouldn't have been able to make that journey based on its what we can understand of its anatomy and its habitat that it lived in. It wouldn't have been traveling across open tundra.
Right. And so it's really, really interesting at just how camera shy this is, this creature is. You would expect to see, to find hair, something leaving behind tracks, feces, and none of it. And what you do find is that it's not consistent. So what can you really say? And there may be some good reason to, for that, why it's not consistent, maybe, because of time between, from when the track was left, et cetera. But still,
I mean,
there's
I
more
wanted
questions.
to believe in Bigfoot for most of my life, growing up and stuff. I really wanted Bigfoot to be real, but just the evidence doesn't pan out. If you look at it as a collectively, it just doesn't pan out. Was that your first Bigfoot call you've ever taken?
Yeah. And like I said, it was interesting. It was his personal experience, and the only thing I can say is not everybody interprets the same experience the same way. So I'm not sure that if I had that similar experience that I would necessarily call it a Bigfoot. I might call it just pareidolia or something else.
Something anomalous, yeah.
Yeah. So. All
right. So before we move on to anything, we got some awesome people in the live chat I want to give a shout out to, because they dropped some hella super chats. I got Cookies gave us $20. First time here.
Hey, thanks.
Gotta pay some respects. First time here. We're glad you're here. We got Stilette Leray. It definitely improves my year to find that YFNA in the perspective. While I am a strong believer in the soul, I love open and kind dialogue. Wishing everyone involved a great 2022. We're wishing you a great 2022 as well. And our old friend Ameet Mathew, dropping $20 in there as well. Thank you for helping me find community over the last year. I met so many great people through this show, and I love joining all these wonderful folks in the chat every week. Wishing everyone a wonderful 2022. Yes, thank you so much. You people are so generous, and you keep this show going. You keep us wanting to come back and take these calls and talk to these folks. So we appreciate you. And if anybody out there in the live chat, if you have an experience, it doesn't have to be Bigfoot, it doesn't have to be aliens, but if you have some kind of unexplained experience that you want to share with us, we're open to just talk about it. Yeah, give us a call. We'd love to hear these accounts.
Yeah.